Hey group, today we're going to be building primitive fish traps or crawdad traps. Now in a survival situation, you build with what materials you have available. And today's material is quite unique. It's sandstone. So let's go ahead and get started and I'll show you what it's all about. Alright, well this is our quarry guys, so to speak. This is the sandstone that we're going to be using to build our fish and crawdad traps. Now out of this forest, at least what we have here in this area, sandstone is one of the most durable materials that we have. It's a lot better off than the grasses, sticks, things that you would traditionally see used to build these primitive fish traps. Now some of you have probably already spotted this structure right here. Those of you that are familiar with the channel, you've seen this before. This was built about 5 years ago. This is a sandstone oven. It's been through 100 rains, probably a half dozen floods, and it's still around. Now that's not to say that the traps we're going to build here today are going to be as durable down there in the water, but there is some lasting power, and there's something to that. It might take a little longer to build these traps, but you're not going to have to rebuild and maintain them near as much, hopefully. So our first step is to find some sandstones that are best suited for building this trap. And we're looking for large plate-like sandstones. Thinner is usually better. That's getting a little thick. We can use it if we need to. But we're going to want to have several of these things, stack them up. Each one's going to take a little bit of modification, adaptation. But the less we have to work with this rock, the better. So we'll stack up a bunch of these over near where we're going to build this trap, and we'll get started. I think this one's a bit too much. I'm gonna leave that one here. Alright, got our rock stacked up. At this point, it's not much use in trying to keep them getting wet. You probably work around it, but it's easier just to get in the water and get it over with. Now we're going to change up our rocks, work on them, and use the back side of my big Bowie knife to kind of carve them out. But a lot of it's just watching and learning at this point. So let's dive in and build a trap. That's about it, guys. You can let the water clear off to show you what's going on under here. But simply put, we've built a funnel trap where the crawdads are crawling around here, and they're going to be diverted into this trap, into the small gap, to bait, and they'll be able to smell that bait. Now, whether or not crawdads are here, I can definitively tell you right now, they are. As I've built this, I've had several of them going up through my toes. I've tried to grab them, but they're fast, and that's why we have to build traps in order to capture them. I'm going to go ahead and add some more gravel down here. There's some clay deposits back here. I'm going to find some bait to put back in this trap. I think what I'm going to use is probably clams back here in the fast moving portion of this creek. Let's see if we can't get a hold of some of those. We'll put them back here and set this thing for the night. The last thing I have left to do, go ahead and see if it'll fit right now, is to put the capstone on. A little wet. It's about an hour and a half's work. Probably takes some shoring up after a while. Clean up. Keep on finding better pieces to fit into it. But understand real quick that you could probably build a dozen of these over the course of a couple days. And they would continue to trap passively all the time. We had a rise in the creek about 5 days ago. You notice some of the grass is kind of pushed down, about a 2-foot rise. I rinsed everything out, got everything flowing again. So it might get pushed over. It doesn't mean that the rocks are going to float away. You put them back together in short order, as opposed to build a trap and having it break away and float on down, or get crushed and broken and destroyed by the trees coming down. So a little bit of work can go a long way. Let's finish it up, bait it up, see if we can't catch something in the morning. All that's left to do is to go ahead and see if we can't find any clams down here. To get down in the gravel and see what we can find. These are what we're after, guys. These are Asian clams. We've got several different types of clam in this creek and further down in the river. These are actually invasive, so not too worried about them. We're going to use these as bait. Any of the invasive creatures that we find out here, most laws in most states tell you to go ahead and terminate them. You're not allowed to actually put them back in the water. So we'll go ahead and see what we can do about making them into bait. That'll be enough. Clams are going to be our bait today. You've seen some of my other videos. You've probably seen me use dried dog food. These are probably third best. Second best bait is going to be earthworms. One of those things, a lot of people say bacon. Everybody's got their preferred crawdad bait, but worm is one of those things that once a crawdad gets a hold of it, they really don't turn loose. Kind of turns them into berserkers. So if it's on a hook, they'll do whatever they can to hold on to that. Now we're going to go ahead and leave this overnight, and there's a good chance that the clams are going to be devoured very, very quickly. It is mid-spring, which means the crawdads are now very active. So we'll go ahead and get up early in the morning. We'll check out the trap, see what it's caught. Might have to rebait it at that point, but chances are crawdads are going to be in there, because again, they were crawling all over my toes whenever I was building this trap. So cross your fingers. We'll see how it goes. You ready to go home? Go, bud. Go. Alright guys, it's been a night. It's time to go check and see what our trap's caught, if anything at all. Now the wind is up a little bit, but as you can probably tell, the creek looks a lot clearer out there. The rock trap's in one piece. Let's go give it a look. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this capstone off because I want to have eyes in this trap. Once you start to concentrate minnows, perch, bluegills, crawdads inside something like this, they're likely to attract all kinds of predators. Turtles, snakes, things that I don't necessarily want to be able to stick my hand inside of and find whenever I'm checking these traps. I'm going to go ahead and pull this thing off, and let's see what we can see. Alright, moment of truth. Now I'm not seeing anything under there, and the water looks to be just about as stirred up as the creek, so it might not have caught anything. I'm pretty sure there's not a snake down here, so let's check it out. Alright, I felt a crawdad, so there's at least something in here. See if I can't capture him, or see if he's got friends. Got him. Check that out. Here we go. First catch. That's wild. That's a good looking crawdad. So, first off, pretty good success. That's not to say that it's an amazing trap. It might just be an awesome little crawdad home. But let's go ahead and check the rest of it and see what else we caught. Awesome. You go back in here. Go right back in the trap. Hey, puppy. Yep, there's at least one more in here. I figured it out. You want to crawdad? I got one. Here we go. Alright, not the same size. What do you think, bud? If you had to, you could eat on that or turn it into bait. That's all I'm pulling out, bud. So, red swamp crawdads. That's number 2. Go back. Let's see if there's number 3. Got a big claw. Ow! Dog it. Big claws got me. Alright, now I'll get to hear me scream. That might be it, guys. I'll check a little bit more, but sticking your fingers down in there can be an occupational hazard. So they've got some pretty good claws on them. But as the water heats up and warms up, they move a lot faster. Not a bad deal. You can probably see that if you were to get a lot of these traps going, even if you only get 3 or 4 per trap, this should make up a significant portion of the calories you need out in a survival situation. Now with one of these traps, you want to make sure that once you are done with it, you either deconstruct it completely, or you at least open up the front of it so that any creatures that are captured can freely move in and out. You don't want to make this into a death trap that catches things and kills them indiscriminately. So make sure you're doing everything ethically and legally. Now with this one, I'm going to go ahead and put this capstone back on, and I'm going to tinker for a little bit longer. I've got more things that I want to try out with it, and that's the beauty of not being in a survival situation where you have the time to mess around and modify and figure out how to make something more efficient or more practical. Alright, let's go ahead and get out of the mud and the wind for a little while. Let's go, bud. Now, a few more things worth mentioning when it comes to building traps like this out in the water is that you want to be both ethical and legal. Observe all local and federal laws. When it comes down to this trap that I built here yesterday, it's within the standards dictated by Texas. So that's their regulations, their guidelines. Make sure that you're following them. Pick up a guidebook. If you're not sure, talk to your game wardens. Make sure that you have all the permits and licenses required to undertake any of these activities out here, especially when it comes to public waters. For in Texas, most of our waters are public. So make sure you're taking care of it. Follow the laws. We want to make sure all this is here for our kids and our grandkids as well. Okay. Also, if you're researching building primitive traps, chances are you're finding yourself out in the wilds where you plan to. Number 1 rule is to be prepared. It's great to know how to do all these things, but it's it's even better to be prepared. So wherever I go, I'll make sure that I have fishing gear. Check out the Grimm survival card, and I'll have the link in the description, and you'll see probably an ad at the very end of this video. But crawdad and minnow traps, fish traps, they come in all different sizes and shapes. This is the one I like. It's a China made. Very collapsible, very light, and it can quite literally be a lifesaver. Again, the idea is to be prepared, be a good scout. Now guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, tell us what you think about it. Comments are always welcome down below. Any ideas you have for it, share it. That's what this community is all about. Go ahead and check out the Grimm survival card, and as always, support a scout. Till next time, let's go up.